Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real quick. You ever been in a place where you feel like you're doing everything right? You're praying, you're showing up, you're trying to live right, but nothing seems to be happening? Yeah, I've been there too. You ever notice how we treat prayer like a wish list at Christmas? Like we're sitting on God's lap with a long list of I want this, can you fix that? Why haven't you done this yet? And I get it, we're human, we're struggling, life gets tough, and sometimes prayer feels like the only outlet we've got left. But let me tell you something that will shift your whole mindset. Prayer is not supposed to be a list of complaints. It's not a one-way monologue. It's a two-way conversation. And when you understand that, everything about how you pray and how you live starts to change. See, most folks treat prayer like a transaction. If I say the right words, if I sound holy enough, if I ask hard enough, maybe I'll get what I want. But God's not a genie. He's not a customer service rep who responds better the louder you get. What he wants, what he's always wanted, is relationship. That means real talk. That means showing up with honesty, not just need. Sometimes you got to stop telling God what you need and start asking him what he wants to say, because prayer isn't just your voice, it's your ear too. We spend so much time talking in prayer that we forget to sit in the quiet. And sometimes it's in that stillness where the most powerful answers show up. But the problem is most of us don't like silence. We're addicted to noise, to movement, to fixing things on our own. So we pray fast, then rush back into the chaos. But when's the last time you paused after you prayed? When's the last time you just sat and listened? Because maybe, just maybe, the thing you're asking for already has an answer, but you can't hear because you're too busy doing all the talking. Real conversations require presence. They require trust. And sometimes the answer isn't yes or no. Sometimes it's not yet. And if you're not listening, you'll miss that. You'll think you've been ignored. You'll think your prayer bounced off the ceiling. But maybe God's just trying to say, I hear you, I love you, but let me work this out my way, not yours. That's alignment. That's when your heart starts to line up with his purpose. That's when you start praying, not just for things to happen, but for the strength to handle whatever does happen. Prayer is where you bring your worries, yes, but it's also where you surrender control. It's where you trade in your anxiety for peace. It's where you don't just say, God, fix it, but you say, God, shape me. You grow in prayer when you stop treating it like a speech and start treating it like a connection. Because in the end, the power of prayer isn't just in the asking, it's in the listening, the trusting, and the willingness to be changed while you wait. Sometimes in life, the hardest thing to deal with is waiting. You've been praying, working, believing, doing everything you know how to do, and still nothing seems to move. The doors you thought would open stay shut. The opportunities you thought were coming never show up. And in that space of silence and delay, doubt starts to creep in. You start wondering if you've been forgotten, if your prayers are pointless, if maybe what you hoped for is just not meant to be. But here's the truth you got to hold on to. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not coming. Delay is not the same as denial. See, we live in a world that moves fast. Everything is on demand. Instant food, instant replies, instant results. So when we don't get immediate answers from God, we start to panic. We assume silence equals rejection. But that's not how divine timing works. Sometimes the delay is the preparation. Sometimes the wait is where the real work is being done. Not just around you, but inside you. God might be shaping your character, building your patience, teaching you lessons that success can't teach. Because the blessing ain't just about getting what you asked for. It's about being ready for it when it comes. Think about it like this. If you plant a seed and expect a tree overnight, you're going to be disappointed. Growth takes time. You can't rush what's meant to develop. And God, in his wisdom, knows exactly when and how to bring your answer to life. You don't want something too early. You don't want the blessing before you're mature enough to handle the weight of it. A delay might be the very thing saving you from crashing under pressure you're not ready for yet. But let's be real. It's not easy. Waiting tests your faith. It stretches your endurance, but it also refines your vision. It forces you to let go of control and say, all right, I don't know how or when, but I still believe. And that kind of faith, that's the kind that moves mountains. That's the kind that changes everything, not just around you, but within you. So don't give up because it's taking longer than you thought. Don't assume the delay means it's over. Stay faithful, stay planted, stay ready, because what's meant for you is still on the way. Faith is a strange thing because it asks you to move when everything around you says stop. It tells you to believe when there's no sign, no evidence, no proof that anything is working. It's not hard to have faith when the path is lit, when everything is going your way, when doors are opening and blessings are falling into your lap. Anybody can trust in the sunshine, but real faith, the kind that changes lives, that kind shows up in the dark. That kind of faith whispers, keep going when the world is screaming, give up. There's a reason you don't get to see the whole staircase before you climb. If God showed you the full journey, every valley, every storm, every detour, you might back out before you even begin. Faith is what lets you take that first step with shaky hands and a hopeful heart. It doesn't mean you're fearless. It means you're willing to move even while you're afraid. The dark isn't there to scare you. Sometimes it's there to teach you how to listen better, how to walk by trust and not by sight, because the real power of faith isn't in knowing where you're going, it's in knowing who's guiding you. So many people get stuck waiting for clarity, waiting for a sign, waiting until everything makes perfect sense. But let me tell you something. If you wait until you're 100% sure, you will never move. Faith isn't about waiting for the green light to turn neon bright. It's about going when it's still dim, still uncertain, still unclear. It's about stepping out when the only thing you're sure of is that you were called to move. That's when God shows up. That's when doors open you didn't even know existed. That's when people say, how did that happen for you? And all you can say is, I just trusted and took the step. It's in those dark moments when you feel lost, confused, alone, that your faith gets stronger. That's where it's tested, stretched, refined. And maybe that's the whole point. Maybe the dark isn't there to defeat you, but to develop you. Maybe it's training your spiritual muscles to walk when there's no spotlight. Because let's be honest, if you could see everything ahead of you, there'd be no need for faith. But faith is what activates the unseen. It's what connects your now to your not yet. Don't wait until everything makes sense. Don't wait until you feel brave. Just take the step. Maybe it's a small one. Maybe it's just sending that email, making that call, applying for the job, starting that business, opening your heart again. Whatever it is, take it. That one move in the dark could shift your whole life. Faith isn't loud. It's not flashy. It's that quiet courage that says, I don't know what's ahead, but I know who's with me. We live in a world where everything is built around speed. You can order food and have it at your door in 20 minutes. You can click a button and have packages show up the next morning. We've been trained to expect things fast, real fast. And because of that, we start thinking God operates the same way. We pray today and we expect answers tomorrow. But that's not how God works. He's not some spiritual Amazon Prime delivering your dreams on a 2-day schedule. His delivery is divine, not instant. And the truth is, his timing is better than anything you could ever rush. When you ask for something in prayer, what you're doing is placing an order in faith. But God doesn't just fulfill requests based on urgency. He fulfills them based on purpose. What you want in a moment might not be what you need for your future. So when you pray and don't see the answer right away, it doesn't mean God's ignoring you. It just means he's preparing something bigger than you imagine, something that doesn't fit in your human time frame. You don't want something just because it's fast. You want it when it's right, and divine timing is always right. Some of the most powerful blessings in your life didn't show up when you wanted them to. They showed up when you needed them. And sometimes you didn't even realize you needed them until they came. That's the beauty of God's delivery system. He's not in a rush because he's not just thinking about your right now. He's thinking about your future, your growth, your strength, your calling. So if it takes a little longer, that's all right. Let it take time, because if he's taking his time, he's building something strong. See, when Amazon delivers your package early, that's considered a bonus. But when God delivers something late by your standards, it's still on time by his. There's no tracking number in faith. You don't get email updates. You don't get to peek into heaven's fulfillment center. You just trust that what you ask for in faith is being handled in love. And that kind of trust, that kind of patience builds a different level of strength in you. It teaches you how to wait with hope, not frustration. It teaches you how to believe without seeing. That's real faith. Waiting on God isn't about doing nothing. It's about staying ready, staying faithful, doing your part while trusting he's doing his. And when it shows up, and it will, it'll be worth every second of the wait, because God don't do cheap. He don't do rushed. He doesn't send partial blessings. When he delivers fully. He shows up with peace, with clarity, with doors that don't just open, they stay open. So don't confuse delay with denial. Don't lose heart just because it's taking longer than you thought. What's coming is still coming. It's crazy how life can feel the hardest right before something great is about to happen. You've been working, praying, staying up late, doing the right things, and yet everything around you seems still, stuck, even silent. You start to wonder if any of it is even worth it. You begin to question if you should keep going or just let it all go. But here's the truth you need to hold on to with both hands. You're closer than you think. What feels like the end might actually be the turning point. The breakthrough could be just one more step away, and most people never realize how near they were when they gave up. See, when you plant a seed, it doesn't sprout the next morning. For a long time, it stays underground, hidden, invisible. But under that soil, things are moving. Roots are forming. Growth is happening in the dark. That seed is getting stronger, more stable, preparing to break through. And you, just like that seed, might not see the progress. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. You're growing in ways you can't even measure right now. The moment you give up is often the moment right before everything is about to shift. Life has a way of testing you when you're closest to leveling up. It puts pressure on your patience. It challenges your endurance. But that's when you need to dig your heels in the most and refuse to quit. Because what you've been building, believing, and praying for doesn't just disappear. It's not lost, it's stored. And God doesn't forget seeds that are planted in faith. He honors perseverance. He honors commitment, and he blesses those who refuse to walk away when it gets hard. The enemy doesn't fight people who aren't a threat. The pressure you're feeling, that's because there's something powerful on the other side of this moment. Something big, something life-changing. But you only get to see it if you keep showing up. Keep believing even when you're tired. Keep moving even when you feel stuck. Breakthroughs rarely come wrapped in comfort. They come when you push past everything in you that says it's not working, and instead say, I didn't come this far to quit now. You might not see the results yet, but that doesn't mean they aren't on the way. You might feel like nothing is happening, but that's often the exact moment when everything is about to break loose. That's how it works. The silence before the sound, the stillness before the shift, the frustration before the floodgates open. If you walk away now, you'll never know how close you really were. So stand firm, stay planted, keep watering your dream, your purpose, your calling, because the moment of breakthrough doesn't send a warning, it just shows up. And when it does, it makes all the waiting worth it. We've all prayed for something, healing, a breakthrough, an opportunity, a new beginning. And deep down, we believe God hears us. We believe he's powerful enough to make things happen. But here's where a lot of people get stuck. They're waiting on God to do it all while sitting still doing nothing. Faith without movement is just a dream with no legs. You can't pray for rain and then not get your field ready. Answered prayers require action. God will open the door, but you still have to walk through it. So many people ask for change but stay exactly where they are. They ask for strength but keep living like they're powerless. They ask for a job but don't update the resume. They ask for peace but never put down what's stealing it. Prayer isn't meant to replace action. It's meant to inspire it. God didn't bring you this far just for you to sit down and wait for the sky to break open. He's already done his part in giving you breath, giving you gifts, giving you vision. Now it's on you to use what you've been given. Think about every miracle in the Bible. None of them happened with people just standing still. The waters didn't part until Moses raised his staff. The walls didn't fall until they marched around Jericho. The blind man didn't see until he went and washed his eyes. God could have done it instantly, but he invited people to move first, because movement is a sign of faith. It tells God, I believe you're about to do something, so I'm getting ready right now. Too many people are stuck in the waiting room when God's already handed them the keys to the next step. It's not always about waiting for a big sign from heaven. Sometimes the sign is the idea in your heart, the skill you've been given, the chance that keeps calling you, but you keep ignoring because it feels risky. Faith isn't safe. It doesn't live in comfort zones. Faith steps out even when it makes the call, starts the business, applies for the position, forgives first, loves harder, and when you move, you'll find out that God's been ahead of you the whole time, making the way clear. It's not about perfection, it's about participation. You don't have to have it all figured out, but you do have to move, even if it's small, even if it's messy. That little step of faith is what turns a prayer into a testimony. God's not going to force you into your blessing. You got to show you're ready for it. So if you've been praying for something, it's time to check your posture. Are you sitting in hope or are you standing in faith? Because God can provide the miracle, but he's looking to see if you're willing to move with it.